Good evening everyone, greetings to the juries of this contest, everyone involved and to anyone else who is currently viewing this video. First and foremost, let me introduce myself. My name is Abram Tumanglo from Anglo Senior High School. Before I begin with my speech, I would like to firstly say thank you to the organizers of this speech contest for giving me the chance to be presenting this speech. The topic of my speech today is about the gradual increase in the temperature of the earth. Our home is burning. Rapid climate change is destabilizing our world. It seems our emissions will not fall quickly enough to avoid climate warming, and we may soon hit tipping points that will lead to the collapse of ecosystem and our civilization. The main thing that we're going to be talking about is the root cause of this climate warming, which is global warming. You may be wondering, what is global warming? Global warming is a phenomenon that happens when the heat that comes from the radiation from the sun gets trapped within the Earth's atmosphere. Naturally, the heat that hits the Earth would bounce off the Earth's surface back to space. But because of the air pollutants that are within the atmosphere, the heat gets trapped in and thus makes the temperature of the atmosphere rise. Since the Industrial Revolution, it has been reported that the Earth temperature has increased about 1 degree Celsius or about 2 degrees Fahrenheit. Between 1880 and 1980, it rose on average by 0.07 degrees Celsius every 10 years. Since 1981, however, the rate of increase has more than doubled. For the last 40 years, we've seen the global annual temperature rise by 0.18 degrees Celsius or 0.32 degrees Fahrenheit per decade. The result, the Earth has been the warmest it has ever been. Some of the most widely shared stories about climate change are that it is an existential threat, the end of human civilization, and maybe even our own extinction event, and that it's basically unavoidable now. But what does science actually say? As of 2022, the global average temperature has risen 1.2 degrees Celsius compared to pre-industrial times. Limiting warming to 1.5 degrees was the more ambitious goal of the Paris Agreement, but we are not likely to meet it already with the warming we have today. Hot places will get hotter, wet places weather, and the risk and strength of extreme weather events increase significantly. Warming beyond 2 degrees makes all of these extremes even more extreme. Extreme weather events are more common, with more ecosystems under major pressure. Some will not survive at 2 degrees. Significant parts of the Earth, especially in developing countries, might become unable to feed their populations. Heat waves will become a major global issue. Large-scale natural systems will break down the scale, and frequency of hurricanes, fires, and droughts will further increase and cause trillions in damage. Saying that, it's not a surefire fact that the world temperature would increase in a few decades. As I've said, the main reason for global warming is because of the air pollutants that traps the heat within the Earth's atmosphere. And these air pollutants are what we call greenhouse gases. These gases are usually consisted of carbon dioxide, methane, nitrous oxide, and fluorinated gases. And these gases are a byproduct of our daily lives, specifically the burning of oil, coal, gasoline, and other natural gases. There are other sources of greenhouse gases that are more natural that gets boosted because of our daily lives. For example, the methane gas that gets emitted from our livestock. Curbing dangerous climate change requires very deep cuts in emissions. For example, a cut in the use of fossil fuels. The good news is that countries all over the world are working together to cut down the emissions of greenhouse gases, as we've seen from the 2015 Paris Climate Agreement, where countries all over the world have firmly committed to put a new standard in emissions. But the not so good news is that we're not going fast enough. If we want to avoid the expected rise of temperature, we would need to act faster in terms of cutting down the emissions. This could be achieved by using electricity as an alternative for fossil fuels, using renewable energy that is more environmentally friendly like wind and solar, and maximizing the efficiency power usage in our buildings. As of 2022, based on global policies, we will end up in a 3 degrees Celsius world. Now it is our job to prove the predictions wrong, despite how serious and urgent things are. Time to turn that 3 degrees Celsius to 2 degrees and see where we could go from there. Because although the world temperature keeps increasing, it's our job together as the inhabitants of this earth to try our hardest with making our earth habitable. So let's all band together and reduce climate change, not just for ourselves, but for our children and our children's children. That concludes my speech for today. Thank you for listening, and God bless.